When Anthony Edwards was turned away from a small-town diner because of his politics, he could have lashed out or called for a boycott. Instead, he responded with kindness. That choice changed not just one restaurant, but an entire community. It began on a rainy evening at Maple Creek Diner. Anthony pulled into the gravel parking lot. The neon open sign buzzed, casting a red glow over puddles. He hadn't eaten since breakfast, and it was 7 p.m. The bell above the door jingled as he stepped inside. The smell of coffee and fried potatoes filled the air. Country music played softly. 6 tables held locals enjoying dinner. A waitress with curly hair tied back in a ponytail looked up and smiled. "Sit anywhere," she said, balancing 3 plates. Her name tag read Talia. Anthony chose a booth by the window and picked up the plastic menu. Tonight's special was meatloaf with mashed potatoes, his grandmother's recipe on cold winter nights. He remembered her cooking and smiled. Talia returned with a glass of water and a notepad. "Welcome to Maple Creek. Can I start you with some coffee?" "That would be great, thanks," Anthony said. As Talia turned toward the coffee pot, a woman emerged from the kitchen with flour on her hands. Her apron read, "Melissa." She froze when she saw Anthony. "Talia," Melissa called sharply, "come here." The 2 women whispered near the cash register. Talia's eyes widened. Melissa's face turned red as she strode to Anthony's table. "I'm sorry, but I can't serve you here," she said, voice tight. "I know who you are, I don't agree with your politics, and don't feel comfortable serving you. This is my place, and I decide who eats here." The diner went silent. Anthony felt his face grow warm. He could argue, remind her that businesses shouldn't refuse service based on politics. Instead, he took a deep breath. "I understand," he said quietly, folding his menu. "It's your business. Your choice. Thank you for your honesty. Have a good evening." He stood, walked to the door, and stepped outside into the cool night. Back in his car, Anthony sat with his hands on the steering wheel. His stomach still growled, but now he felt a weight on his chest. He wasn't a stranger to rejection. His life was about facing hard truths. Through the window, he saw Melissa talking to customers. Some nodded, others looked uncomfortable. Talia stood by the coffee pot, staring at her shoes. Anthony reached for his phone and dialed a contact. "Hey, it's Anthony. Remember that thing we talked about? I think I found the perfect place for our meeting tomorrow." He glanced back at the diner's warm golden lights against the dark sky. "Trust me, this will surprise everyone." He hung up and pulled from the parking lot. The radio played an old song as he drove away. Talia watched Anthony's car disappear. The diner slowly returned to normal, but she couldn't shake a knot in her stomach. "Can you believe it?" Melissa said, coming to stand beside her. "He just walked out, no fuss." "Did we have to do that?" Talia asked quietly. "He cost us our farm with his politics," Melissa said, her face hard. "I can't serve someone like that." Talia nodded but didn't reply. The bell jingled as a family entered. Melissa greeted them with a practiced smile for the rest of her shift. Talia took orders, but her mind kept returning to Anthony's sad expression. At closing, she wondered what Anthony would do. Tell people online about mean Melissa? Tomorrow would be just another day, or so she thought. That night, Talia climbed 3 flights to her apartment. The elevator was broken. The hallway smelled like someone's burnt dinner. She fumbled for her keys. It was nearly midnight. She pushed the door open to find her grandmother, Eliza Reynolds, awake in her armchair, silver hair in a loose braid. "You're late," Eliza said softly. "Sorry, Grandma. I stayed late to help with inventory," Talia said, dropping her purse on the counter. "Why are you up? Did you take your medicine?" Eliza asked, concern in her eyes. "I did. I'm not a child," Talia replied, sinking onto the couch. Eliza patted the cushion. "Come sit. Something's bothering you." Talia settled next to her. She could never hide anything from Eliza, who had raised her since she was 8. Something happened at the diner today. That man, Anthony Edwards, came in and Melissa refused to serve him. Eliza frowned. "And he didn't fight back?" "He just said, 'I understand,' and left," Talia said. "I felt awful, like we did something wrong." "Maybe you did," Eliza said quietly. Talia looked at her, surprised. Eliza rarely criticized. Melissa had her reasons, but turning someone away because you disagree with them, that's not right. People should be judged by how they treat others, not who they are. Talia's voice trembled. I don't know. Melissa's the boss. I need this job. My medicine costs a lot. The rent went up. Eliza reached for her hand. Don't worry about me. We've been through worse. She glanced at the stack of bills on the side table. What do you think Anthony will do? Will he tell people not to come here? Who knows? Eliza pulled her blanket higher. People surprise you. I hope he doesn't make trouble. Melissa can be stubborn, but she's not a bad person. She was quiet. Everyone has a story. Everyone has reasons for what they do. Talia wasn't sure whom her grandmother meant. Eliza often spoke in riddles. I should go to bed, Talia said, standing. Morning shift. Eliza caught her hand. Whatever happens tomorrow, remember to be kind. That's all that matters. Talia paused. Do you know something I don't? Eliza smiled mysteriously. Just old thoughts. Go to bed. She settled back under her blanket. Talia laid out Eliza's pills, then lay down herself. She couldn't shake the feeling something big was coming. She thought of Anthony's calm face, his words. Thank you for your honesty. She drifted to sleep. At 5:30 a.m., Talia's alarm blared. She shut it off, showered quickly, and checked on Eliza, who still slept. She left a note. Lunch in fridge. Call if needed. Love you. The morning was chilly. Talia zipped her jacket and walked to Main Street. Clouds glowed pink. Rounding the corner to the diner, she stopped. At least 30 people waited outside. Her heart sank. Excuse me, she said, pushing through. I work here. What's going on? A woman in a red coat smiled. We're waiting for you to open. Is it true Anthony recommended this place? Talia blinked. He did? A man interrupted. I saw his post. He said your meatloaf smelled amazing and everyone looked happy. Before Talia could reply, a news van pulled up. A reporter with a microphone jumped out. Do you work here? I'm Camden Walsh from Channel 8 News. Can we get a statement? I have to open, Talia said, fumbling for keys. She slipped inside and locked the door. Inside, she turned on the lights, tied her apron, and checked her phone. 3 missed calls from Melissa. The back door banged open. Talia, thank goodness. Melissa rushed in, hair messy, face pale. There's a crowd out there, something about Anthony recommending us. It's crazy. She pulled out her phone, showing a post. I was turned away from Maple Creek Diner because of my politics. I respect her choice, but their meatloaf smelled amazing and everyone looked happy. Small businesses are the heart of our country. Support local. Always. Talia looked at Melissa. He's sending people here after you kicked him out. Melissa stared at the screen. Is this a trick? Is he making me look bad? Talia said, It sounds like forgiveness. Melissa scoffed. Nobody's that nice, especially not athletes. Talia said, We'd better get cooking. Everyone will want breakfast. They brewed extra coffee, mixed pancake batter, and called in Danny and Hector. At 6:30 a.m., Melissa unlocked the door. People filled every table. Camden sat up in a corner. Just one statement, Camden pleaded, trailing Melissa. No comment, Melissa said, handing him a menu. Camden smiled. I'll have the pancake special. They had a waiting list by 7 a.m. The kitchen roared. Every time the bell jingled, Talia half expected Anthony. She found Melissa by the window. We'll run out of food, Melissa whispered. I've never seen it this busy. Talia asked, Isn't it good? I don't know, Melissa said, troubled. Why would he do this? I insulted him. Maybe he's being nice. At lunchtime, news vans from multiple stations lined the street. Headlines read, Anthony Edwards responds to diner rejection with kindness. Online, people argued. Some called for boycotts, others praised Anthony. Back home, Eliza watched local news. It's all lies, she said, tossing the remote. They don't know Melissa's reasons, Talia said, collapsing on the couch. Eliza studied her. You look exhausted. The diner's been packed all week. My feet hurt. But Melissa looks worse, Eliza said. She jumps whenever the door opens, as if expecting Anthony. Is she sorry? Talia asked. Eliza said, When I was young, people refused service over race. We served everyone. We lost friends. We got threats. She paused. Turning someone away says you're not welcome here. That's heavy. Talia helped her grandmother to bed and checked her phone. Anthony made no new posts. Saturday at 6 a.m. and the crowd outside was smaller but still large. Inside, Melissa Flip had pancakes. The bank called. She was a good risk now. She laughed without humor. 1 week of good business, and everyone thinks I'm a success. I kicked him out, and he helped us more than anyone. Customers grew impatient. Let's talk later, Melissa said. A week later, business remained busy. Talia helped sort mail. Letters arrived from across the country, some supportive, others hateful. She sorted them into bills, business mail, and opinion mail, which went into a box under the counter. A cream-colored envelope caught her eye. No return address, heavy, neat handwriting to Monsieur Hargrove. She set it aside. That evening, she found Melissa reading the letter in a corner booth. Everything okay? Talia asked. It's from him, Melissa said, folding it. He wrote back. Can I see? Talia asked. It's not what I expected, Melissa whispered. She tucked it away and locked up. Sunday, the diner was closed. Talia spent the morning helping Eliza with laundry and groceries. At 4 p.m., Melissa called a staff meeting. Everyone gathered. Danny, the new waitresses, Hector, Jenkins. They speculated. Selling? Expanding? Melissa entered, hair softer, wearing a blue dress. Thank you for coming. I need to read you a letter. She produced the cream envelope and read, Dear Ms. Hargrove, thank you for your honesty. When I visited your diner, your directness was refreshing. My grandmother taught me that when someone rejects you, the best response is kindness. It shows respect. I recommended your diner not to embarrass you, but because I saw how special it is. Home cooking, a caring staff, a sense of community. My politics come from wanting to help struggling communities like yours. We may disagree, but we want the same thing, a good job, safe neighborhoods, hope for our children's futures. I don't ask you to change your mind or to serve me if I come back. That's your right. I just ask you to keep doing what you're doing, serving good food and providing a place where your town can come together. Sincerely, Anthony Edwards. Melissa closed the letter, tears in her eyes. I judged him unfairly. He chose kindness. Silence filled the room. Talia felt a lump in her throat. I've decided, Melissa said. I'm inviting him back for dinner. No press, no cameras, just to apologize and offer him the meal he was denied. Also, Eliza Reynolds, Talia's grandmother, believes she was childhood friends with his grandmother in Kentucky. Eliza has photographs and memories to share if he's interested. Gasps and smiles spread. The staff exchanged teary glances. Melissa said, I wanted you all to hear it first. 2 days later, Melissa received a text. Miss Hargrove, this is Anthony Edwards. Thank you for your invitation. I would be honored to join you on Friday at 7. The connection to my grandmother is meaningful. May I bring dessert? He agreed. The diner prepared. Melissa chose a special menu, tested meatloaf recipes until she found one with a maple glaze. Keep it simple. Real diner food, she instructed Hector. Talia brought Eliza in on Wednesday. They spent an hour going through Eliza's photo album and recalling stories of Beverly, how she marched up to bullies at age 12, how she cared for neighbors during blizzards, how she refused to take nonsense but had a tender heart. Melissa watched, realizing it was harder to see Anthony as an enemy when picturing his grandmother's compassion. Friday evening, the diner closed to the public at 6 p.m. Staff reset the nicest table with a white cloth napkins, and fresh flowers. Eliza arrived in a blue dress carrying the album. At 6:55, Anthony arrived, carrying a bakery box tied with string. He wore a neat button-down shirt and khaki pants. Melissa greeted him at the door. Ms. Hargrove, thank you for inviting me, he said, extending his hand. Please call me Melissa, she replied. Thank you for coming. Anthony met Talia and Eliza. When he saw Eliza, his eyes widened with recognition. Mrs. Reynolds, he said softly, you look just like your brother Jimmy. Eliza smiled, tears in her eyes. I knew your grandmother, Beverly. We grew up together. They opened the album. Anthony traced the image of 14-year-old Beverly on a porch. I've never seen her so young, he murmured. You were 14 there too, Eliza said. It was a Sunday. Our families were poor in Kentucky. Beverly insisted we'd make something of ourselves. They flipped through photos at a swimming hole decorating a Christmas tree. Eliza described how Beverly cared for her siblings after their parents died. Anthony's eyes filled. I didn't know she kept track of me after she moved away. She never forgot, Eliza said gently. Melissa peeked in. Dinner's ready. She placed a platter of thick sliced meatloaf glazed with maple syrup, bowls of mashed potatoes, and green beans with bacon. The scent of home cooking filled the room. This looks amazing, Anthony said, helping Eliza close the album. I haven't had a home-cooked meal in weeks. They bowed their heads as Eliza offered a blessing. Conversation flowed. Anthony told stories of his grandmother's guidance, how she saved him from despair when he was a child. Eliza nodded, recalling those years. He described finding her graduation photo in her Bible. Eliza's eyes filled. I saved it for you, she said, pressing a copied album into his hands. Wait, these originals, they belong with you. He accepted them reverently. After dinner, they shared Betty's apple pie with vanilla ice cream. Anthony insisted on clearing plates, smiling as Melissa watched him savor the meal. When Eliza stifled a yawn, Talia said, I should get Grandma home. Of course, Anthony said, helping Eliza stand. Meeting you was like finding a piece of my grandmother I never knew was missing. Eliza patted his hand. You've become a wonderful man. Beverly would be proud. They stepped outside together. Through the window, Talia saw Anthony and Melissa talking quietly. That went well, Eliza said. Better than anyone expected, Talia agreed. Over the next few days, local gossip swirled. People who had never set foot in Maple Creek Diner found themselves curious. Conversation around the town square buzzed with speculation. Was Anthony's post sincere or a ploy? In the high school cafeteria, teachers debated whether kindness could truly heal political wounds. Talia felt both proud and uneasy. Proud for the diner, uneasy about where this attention might lead. The diner took on new energy. Early every morning, regulars arrived at dawn for coffee and bacon. Even the servers moved more briskly, as if fueled by optimism. The walls, once plain wood, felt alive with possibility. Framed photos, children's drawings, and local sports teams seemed to glow under the warm overhead lights. Every time a new customer walked in, someone greeted them by name, or at least with a friendly nod. When Melissa finally wrote that invitation to Anthony, she did it with trembling hands. Late at night, she practiced pen strokes, choosing words that balanced humility with sincerity. In the quiet diner after hours, the only sounds were the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional drip of a faucet. She paused over lines such as, I would be honored to offer you the meal you were denied, wondering if it sounded too formal or too casual. Ultimately, she trusted Talia's guidance as Talia encouraged her to speak from the heart. That first dinner after the letter arrived played out like a scene from a cherished film, narrated by memories and hope. Eliza brought photograph after photograph, edges worn but brimming with brightness. Anthony traced each image with gentle fingertips as Eliza recounted summers in Kentucky, days swimming in a cool river, winter nights by a wood stove, secrets whispered under oak trees. Talia watched from the doorway as Anthony listened intently, his face softening with every story. The kitchen's clatter faded away, replaced by shared laughter and tears. In spring, the renovations transformed the diner's interior. The cramped kitchen expanded with gleaming stainless steel appliances and a new stove that hissed with readiness. The empty storefront next door became a spacious dining area with large windows overlooking a flower garden planted by local volunteers. Talia, now assistant manager, helped organize a community breakfast event to celebrate the reopening. Over 50 seniors lined up early for free pancakes and coffee, sharing stories about childhood memories and family recipes passed down through generations. Many held small quilts or photographs, recalling dinners once shared at counters just like the one now being used. The atmosphere was one of belonging, neighbors greeting neighbors, old faces meeting new ones, and everyone sharing a collective moment of pride. Renovation weekend turned into more than just construction. Local musicians set up a small stage outside each Saturday afternoon, drawing crowds who brought lawn chairs to listen to bluegrass and folk tunes. Children chased each other around flower pots, laughter blending with the strum of guitars. Nearby, the hardware store, also funded by Anthony's recommendation, reopened its doors with a modern tool rental section. The old movie theater, another beneficiary of the investment fund, unveiled bright marquees and cushioned seats, A vacant lot downtown transformed into a small business incubator, its walls painted with a mural depicting local history. Everywhere one looked, life was bustling and renewed. Months passed and the national attention faded, replaced by local pride. When the diner's back porch, a cozy space with sunflowers lining its edge, began hosting early morning yoga classes, Talia marveled at how life had changed. Patrons who once ate alone now arrived with friends, chatting about family milestones or upcoming school fairs. The booth by the window, Anthony's favorite spot, was often occupied by him typing on his laptop, occasionally looking up to smile at familiar faces. One evening in late August, Talia closed up later than usual. As she wiped down the counter, she noticed a group of former farm workers, people who had once lost their livelihoods, laughing around a corner table over steaming bowls of chili. The overhead lights cast a soft glow on their faces. In that moment, Talia felt the full weight of Anthony's single act, a revived spirit in a town accustomed to struggle. When autumn arrived, Maple Creek Diner's sign, once flickering and unreliable, received a new bulb, illuminating the street with a steady, warm light. Children lugged backpacks as they passed by. Teenagers stopped in for a slice of pumpkin pie. Longtime residents directed visitors. "You should have seen this place last year." In the entryway, a framed photograph of Anthony and Eliza, arms around each other, smiling, served as a testament. Connections built on empathy could reshape an entire town. And so the story of Anthony Edwards and Maple Creek Diner became legend in Oakwood County, not because of fame or controversy, but because a single act of unexpected kindness catalyzed transformation. In a world defined too often by division, they proved that responding to rejection with compassion isn't naive, it's revolutionary.